Welcome to the Happiness Matters podcast, where we'll explore happiness at work and show you how to coach yourself to be happier there and more successful too, no matter what.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the world of your unhappiness. Oh, how bad does this sound? Stay with me. I'm Julia Seal, and I am so excited to be starting this work with you on your negative emotions and how to feel better right now from this episode onwards. Last week, I mapped out this exciting mini journey for you, the journey of what to do with unhappy in your life, your unhappiness, and how to feel better. I introduced the next 10 podcast episodes where we're exploring the misalignment between where you are now and where you want to be, some version of happy and successful. What we're doing here is not only an exploration of this misalignment. This is not only an intellectual exercise, but we're going to do some real coaching here with me today. We're coaching on how to feel better while you're in the middle of this misalignment, how to feel better in the middle of all your negative emotions and what's getting in the way of your unhappiness. These next podcast episodes are like finding a safe haven in a storm, a respite, a safe place to rest while you're in your own river of misery of unhappiness. This is the first of these How to Feel Better episodes. We're looking at the exact shape of your unhappiness. In creating your own version of happy and successful no matter what, the work we're doing in Series 1, we need to go here to the shape of your unhappiness. We need to first discover all your negative emotions, learn how to process them, and then learn how to actually use them. Your negative thoughts and emotions are why so many of the happiness hacks you hear about just don't seem to stick. You start a new happiness habit and it lasts for 3 or 4 days, maybe a few weeks, and then you find yourself somehow forgetting it. So you might really want to start keeping a daily gratitude journal, or you might start practicing smiling at others on purpose, both proven ways to improve your happiness. But you soon forget. And after a week or two, you've either completely forgotten your original intention or it sits in your head as yet another task that you should be doing. Your negative thoughts and negative emotions are the reason why. Before we get started, please do subscribe to our podcast to get our new episodes as they come out. Each one comes out every Tuesday. We're available on all the major podcast players for Apple and Android smartphone users, for example. We've got Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and YouTube. And all you need to do is search for Happiness-Matters and Julia Seal. Also, we'd so appreciate if you'd leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, if you're an Apple user, and iTunes, if you're an Android user. Your reviews are wonderful to get, and they help us reach more people and share this coaching further out into the world. So thank you in advance for paying it forward. Let's get started with the first step in our negative emotions coaching journey. This first step starts with a discovery session, finding out everything that's standing in the way of your happiness, everything that's making you unhappy. If you've listened to the earlier coaching sessions for Series 1, you will have done some of this work already. We're now going to take this, deepen it, and stop for a while in the gap, the misalignment between your now and your future vision of happiness and success. If you haven't listened to anything before this, there's ample time to catch up later. And I will link to the relevant episodes in the show notes on our website, Happiness-Matters.coach. For now, we can just do this discovery session together. Start by brainstorming everything you're unhappy about. Make me a list on paper of everything standing in the way of your happiness and your success, everything that is bothering you, anything that brings up negative emotions when you think about it, anything and everything. Just write a long list. Don't write about it, don't explain it, just write it like a flow of thoughts. Think of this like you are plugging your brain in and downloading what's inside it. So you're not really thinking about what's there, you're just downloading it. This is a daily coaching tool that I use called a thought download, or as some of my coaching colleagues like to call it, a TDL or TDLing. Writing your TDL, your thought download, like a bulleted list, can help you keep it in this free-flowing, no-thinking, discovery download mode. Add depth to this by revisiting the work you've done so far, if you've been following from where we started. In episode 1.2, we looked at how happy at work are you really? From episode 1.5, the questions from what's stopping your happiness and success at work. And from episode 1.6, what's the toughest thing for you? Also, from the Series 1 Insight episodes on smiling and laughing on purpose, what negative emotions did this bring up for you? Somewhat counterintuitive, I know, but what did smiling and laughter do for your unhappiness? And then lastly, from using the self-coaching tool on self-smizing. What might your inner critic be saying? What feelings came up when you tried smizing at yourself in the mirror? What we're doing here is getting everything negative in our heads and hearts out onto a piece of paper. So ask yourself, what is everything I'm thinking? What is everything I'm feeling? Alternatively, you can thought download on something specific that's bothering you. What's unhappy, what's making you feel sad, mad, bad, or anything similar. Put the topic of your distress at the top of your page. So you could put my manager, my husband, my salary, my happiness, working through menopause. And then you download in an ongoing flow all the negative thoughts, all the judgments, all the negative emotions and feelings, and keep going as long as you can. Now, what does this do for us? Of course, it starts our negative emotions coaching journey. This is the first step and the start of our process, but it also has some immediate use to you right now. Often, when we're swamped by our negative emotions, feeling down, anxious, angry, this is all we experience in our day. It's all we can see. It's like a fog that clouds the path of our lives, a fog of negative emotions that clouds our view of where we could go next. This thought download exercise is the equivalent of capturing the fog in our hands so we can look at it more clearly. Now, what happens to fog if you try and catch it in your hands? It's quite ephemeral, isn't it? It changes shape. It might dissipate or disappear, or even turn to water drops. This is what will happen with today's work. You start with this fog in your head of 1,000 or more, if you're me, it's be more, thoughts and related emotions all swirling about, shapeless, but clouding everything in your mind. The mind, clouded by thoughts and emotions, this lack of clarity and confusion, causes so much suffering for us. It's where we are at our most reactive, reacting to life's events without thinking, driven only by our negative thoughts and emotions. Using the TDL to capture the noise of your negative emotions and negative thoughts starts to change the view you have ahead. The fog changes form. You might see things a little differently. You might see things a little more clearly. Do you remember we spoke about the puzzle book, Where's Wally, and the mythical river of misery of ancient Greece in our previous episodes? I want to go back and remind you about both of these ideas, as they'll bring depth to this idea of finding yourself in a fog. Let's revisit the analogy of the river of misery. I used the ancient Greek story of Hades and the river of misery to describe the coaching process, the journey from where you are now to where you want to go, and the river of misery between these 2 points, where you might be finding yourself right now in this fog of negative emotions. The river of misery is described in the myths of the Greek underworld, where souls go after death. Once we die, we need to safely cross from the mortal world to the underworld, and to get there, we need to cross the river Charon, also known as the river of pain, of woe, the river of misery. And if we didn't successfully cross the river of misery, our souls would be left stranded on the bank, left to wander aimlessly for the rest of time. On our way to the entrance of Hades, we have to encounter Cerberus, the triple-headed dog, along with those who lived at the front entrance to Hades: anxiety, fear, need, agony, and discord, to name just few of them. So to get your version of happy no matter what, our point B, our goal of coaching, we have to cross the river of misery. We have to go through pain and beyond any number of scary obstacles. And let's remind ourselves about Where's Wally? Where's Wally is a similar analogy for where we are now and what we're doing in our coaching, but not quite so terrifying as your journey across the river of misery with the filthy river guide Charon, who, by the way, is not a good example of a coach on your journey. Wally is the protagonist of the children's puzzle book, Where's Wally? Or if you're in North America, you might know him as Waldo. We met him in our Q&A episode on the self-smizing coaching tool. The Where's Waldo is a visual searching game that's immensely popular with adults and children, appearing in his own comic strip and TV series, in The Simpsons, Frasier, and Friends, and even on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. You search for Waldo, a little guy dressed in a stripy red beanie, stripy red shirt, and blue pants, who is hiding somewhere in a variety of cartoon character crowd scenes. Searching for Waldo is just what you are doing now. Searching in the fog of all your negative thoughts and negative emotions. Searching for your key to happiness. And as you increase your awareness of the thoughts and emotions, it can feel like so much noise, so much clutter, clouded in fog, and clarity seems impossible. However, the more you stay with this process, the more you keep looking and uncovering the layers of your definitions and opinions about the world of work and happiness, the easier it will become. When you find Wally in the puzzle pictures, it's hard to believe you could ever have missed him. He's so obvious. And this is the same as your discoveries on your own version of happy and successful at work. I will link to both these past episodes in the show notes for you too. So now we're here. We found Wally, or perhaps you found several Waldos, and we've got them on Charon's boat in the middle of the river of misery. We've identified our negative thoughts and emotions. We've added detail to our feeling of unhappiness. And we're now in the perfect place. It's pretty awful here, isn't it? Right in the middle of your river of misery, right in the midst of exploring your negative thoughts and emotions. Yes, the fog might have cleared a bit, an important side effect of the TDL, that it might ease your current unhappiness just in the writing of everything down. However, it might well have not lifted, and it's feeling even worse. You sitting here in Charon's boat on the way to the entrance of Hades. And I'd like you to just be here as we talk. I'd like you to see what feels the worst, what feels the most unhappy. Being able to stay here a while with me, looking at your own unhappiness, looking at those negative emotions, feelings, and sensations enables us to start the journey of coaching your negative emotions. at this point, when things are feeling so difficult, so painful, and so unbearable. You are so unhappy and in much pain and suffering. I want to introduce the most simple gift, the most simple self-coaching tool. Simple, yet a gift so powerful that it will totally transform your life in the long run. Today I offer it to you as a respite, a safe haven in the midst of your most negative of emotions, some relief from the river of misery. I found this tool many years ago at the height of a very painful divorce, and I have always appreciated it for the immediate relief it can give me when I'm not feeling okay. But for many years, I didn't appreciate the immense power of this tool over the long term, of doing it consistently throughout my day, my life. I call it 3 long, strong breaths. What I want you to do in the middle of this podcast and in the middle of feeling all your negative emotions is to use this coaching tool, 3 long, strong breaths. I'm going to explain it here, and so you can do it with me. It's really not difficult. And you can download the instructions from our website as well. I'd like you to try doing it right now as I'm talking, so you can get the experiential evidence of its immediate power. If you have an Apple Watch, you might be familiar with the little app that comes with the watch called Breathe. If you do have it, you might want to activate it after this session. It's a very useful little addition to your life. Now, wherever you are and whatever state you are in, driving your car, irritated while washing up, laughing at the coffee maker, just turn away the running train of your negative thoughts and their emotions for just a few seconds and turn towards me. Listen to me and focus on what I'm saying. Notice where you are sitting. Notice that you are here listening to me now. Take one deep and long breath in. Hold it for a short while, not until you're going to explode, and then breathe out evenly. Leave a tiny pause before you breathe in again. Then take another breath in, pause, and out, pause. But don't pause so long that you want to gulp oxygen. Focus on what I'm saying, even if your thoughts and emotions have taken over again already. And now another one. 3 long, strong breaths. How does that feel now? Is there a tiny moment of relief? If your thoughts and emotions flood back immediately and your heart rate kicks up again, you might want to do it again. While I'm talking now, keep doing it as I'm talking. Every time your emotions flood in or your mind wanders, come back to my voice here and take another long, strong breath. I will explain more about what this technique is, where it originated from, and the science behind how and why it works. But that's for another special episode. For now, just take 3 deep, long breaths and come gently back to yourself. This coaching tool, 3 long, strong breaths, creates just enough space in the midst of all the negative thoughts and emotions for us to coach ourselves. It creates in us the beginning of a skill, a capability to look at our unhappiness, the pain and suffering. It enables us to begin to look at that messy thought download you've just written about. The worst thing. What we're going to do now is start to work with your TDL. We're going to start sorting through it to see what we can find. To do this, you could take a highlighter or just underline the different categories as I speak. Firstly, can you pull out all the facts that there are in your thought download? all the things you wrote about your unhappiness that are just circumstances, the facts of the situation. Then, can you highlight all the thoughts that you might be thinking about these facts? And lastly, can you underline or circle all the emotions, the feelings in your TDL? Let me give you a really simple example. In my thought download I did today, I scrawled out a whole lot of words about irritation and feeling irritated. Now, irritation is something I work with regularly, and we'll talk more about this on our upcoming episode on negative emotions and menopause. So in my TDL today, I asked myself, what's going on right now for me? I've picked an example that many of us work with every day. It's such a great example. It seems so petty, but it's a wonderful coaching opportunity and an opportunity to work with negative emotions. I wrote all about dirty dishes in the kitchen from yesterday, Sunday, and how irritated I am with my family. Yes, it seems like an inane example, but it will show you the technique easily, so you'll be able to relate to it. So from my TDL, there are a lot of words on my piece of paper. I pull out the facts. Supper is finished. There are dishes. My men are on the couch watching Netflix. I identify the thoughts. I cooked, so they should be cleaning up. I worked late, and I'm the one who should be relaxing. No one is ever proactive about cleaning up. They are so lazy. I'm sick of having to ask for help. I hate this. There's a lot. I told you, simple but inane, or inane but simple. I find the emotions in my words: irritated, angry, tired, despondent, upset, annoyed. Can you see how I've highlighted and categorized various elements that are running around in my brain, the facts of the situation, and the thoughts I am having about it, and the emotions that these thoughts are creating? Let's look at another example. If you chose to write about my manager, you might have something like this. Your facts might be: my manager is a woman who is 26. She became my manager at the beginning of the year. We have had one meeting on the 6th of August. Your thoughts might be: she's not interested in me. She doesn't value my work. She's a bad manager. She's going to fire me. I've done something wrong. And your emotions might be worried, anxious, fearful, angry, annoyed, belittled, small. Can you see what we're doing with our thought download? We're taking our negative thought stream and starting to categorize it into various elements. And it's these elements that we can use in our coaching. This is very powerful coaching work that we've done today. So I'm going to leave you here with today's skills of downloading what's in your brain, categorizing it into the 3 elements: facts, thoughts, and emotions. And while you're doing it, in the act of doing it, taking your 3 long, strong breaths. Before we meet again, keep doing this. Keep revisiting what you're unhappy about. And every time you feel you might be overwhelmed with your negative emotions, use the coaching tool of 3 long, strong breaths. Use this episode, this coaching session, and the TDL and the 3 long, strong breaths as a respite from the storm. And of course, if this is feeling too unhappy, and you're finding that you're feeling too many negative emotions and so swamped that you cannot go forward into your week, you can work with me directly. You can book one online coaching session with me, and we can coach on anything that's getting in the way of your happiness and success right now, today. To book a session, go to Happiness-Matters.coach and click on the yellow button, Coach with Julia. And this, my friends, is the beginning of coaching your negative emotions. We've taken our first steps into coaching our unhappiness, our negative emotions, what's making us feel the worst. We've taken some powerful steps forward in how to feel better. And we've not done just this. We're also venturing down the path of our emotional courage, our emotional intelligence, of shifting our happiness set point, of creating and crafting our own personal version of happy no matter what. And you've got your 3 long, strong breaths to come back to yourself every time your negative emotions rise up. I want to offer you this last gift today, a poem by David Whyte. David is an English poet who writes beautiful poetry and bestseller books infused with his special blend of poetry and philosophy, laced with his Irish and Yorkshire heritage. He's brought insight into how we think about work as a vocation, consulting to multinationals such as Boeing, AT&T, NASA, the Royal Air Force, and Toyota. I cannot tell you how much his work inspires my work with you, this coaching podcast. It's right up my happiness ladder and over the top into sheer delight. Here's one of my most favorite for you, right here in the river of misery. It's called Everything is Waiting for You. Please go and listen to David reading it on our YouTube poetry playlist. The link's in the show notes. Everything is waiting for you. Your great mistake is to act the drama as if you were alone, as if life were a progressive and cunning crime with no witness to the tiny hidden transgressions. To feel abandoned is to deny the intimacy of your surroundings. Surely even you at times have felt the grand array, the swelling presence and the chorus crowding out your solo voice. You must note the way the soap dish enables you, or the window lash grants you freedom. Alertness is the hidden discipline of familiarity. The stairs are your mentor of things to come. The doors have always been there to frighten you and invite you, and the tiny speaker in the phone is your dream ladder to divinity. Put down the weight of your aloneness and ease into the conversation. The kettle is singing even as it pours you a drink. The cooking pots have left their arrogant aloofness and seen the good in you at last. All the birds and creatures of the world are unutterably themselves. Everything is waiting for you. There really is no better time to do this work together. Next week, we continue working with your negative emotions in the second step of coaching these emotions, this time exploring them in the context of our emotional intelligence, our EQ. We're taking our second step in how to feel better. Don't forget to download your 3 strong long breaths coaching tool, also from Happiness-Matters.coach, under the free and fun section. And remember, you'll find our step-by-step guideline about how to set up, subscribe, and review this Happiness Matters podcast also on our website. Bye for now, from a very misty early morning as the sun comes up. It's just so beautiful, but it's no wonder that mist and fog were on my mind today.
Thanks for joining us on this Happiness Matters podcast. Do join us again here next week on Tuesday. You can subscribe to this series at Apple Podcasts on iTunes, or you can sign up for it on our website, Happiness-Matters.coach. That's Happiness-Matters.coach. COACH. Also, you can join our conversation on Facebook by following us there. Our Facebook page is also Happiness-Matters.coach.